Hey, you. Yeah, come here for a second. Let me talk to you directly, face to face, because this moment, it's built for you. Listen, it's full-blown pandemonium, and you predicted the collapse before anybody believed you, right? And now, people are running around like the sky is falling, acting shocked, acting confused, acting like they never heard the alarms you were practically screaming months ago. And, that's the funny part, isn't it? They laughed at you. They doubted you. They rolled their eyes like you were doing too much, like you were paranoid, like you were dramatic. But here they are, shaking, scrambling, whispering your name like some kind of urban legend they're finally realizing was right there in front of them. And you're standing here with that calm little smirk because, yeah, you called every piece of this mess before it even started forming. You know what makes you different? You don't just see the world, you read it. You don't watch people, you study them. You don't follow timelines, you sense them before they exist. And that kinda freaks them out, doesn't it? Because people love to pretend they're in control, that they've got everything figured out, that the world bends to their little plans, until it cracks. And suddenly, everybody's running around looking for the one person who doesn't panic when things flip upside down. That's you. You're the one they dismissed. You're the one they underestimated. You're the one they side-eyed. Until the moment everything you said, everything you warned them about, everything you felt in your bones, came true right in front of their eyes. And now they're staring at you like you've got some secret blueprint. They never had the range to understand. The chaos didn't shock you, because you've lived through storms most people couldn't survive for 5 minutes. People around you panicked because they never built resilience. They built routines. You built instincts. You developed that sixth sense from every moment life tried to break you. Every time you had to pick yourself up when other people disappeared. Every night you spent thinking deeper than anyone around you even knew was possible. And, here's the thing they'll never admit out loud. They wish they saw what you saw. They wish they felt what you felt. They wish they had your intuition, your pattern recognition, your nerve, your ability to look at a situation and say, yeah, this is about to blow. But they didn't. They couldn't. Because that level of clarity comes from a different kind of journey. The kind most people avoid. People like to say, you were lucky. No, you weren't lucky. You were awake when they were sleepwalking. You were paying attention when they were distracted. You were honest with yourself when they were lying to themselves, just to feel comfortable. You ever notice how people hate the messenger until the message hits reality? That's why they looked down on you, because accepting your warning meant admitting their world wasn't as safe or predictable as they wanted it to be. It meant admitting they were fragile. It meant admitting you were the one with the sharper mind, the sharper vision, the sharper instinct. And now, they're circling back. They're whispering things like, yo, how did you know? Why didn't we listen? Can you help us figure out what to do next? But here's the part they'll never fully grasp. You didn't predict this out of fear. You predicted this out of understanding. You predicted this because the world can't fool someone who has already been through enough chaos to recognize the pattern before the first crack appears. You're built different. Your mind works in layers. Your intuition works like a radar most people don't even know exists. Your awareness cuts through noise like a blade. And when the world's spinning, when the pressure's rising, when people are freaking out, losing themselves, losing their composure. You're the one who steps back into the center of the storm like, yeah, this is exactly what I expected. Because you've already lived through worse, already adapted faster, already trained yourself to move in spaces that break other people. You didn't just survive the collapse, you foresaw the collapse. You analyzed it, you mapped it, you braced for it, and now you're walking through the chaos like someone who knows exactly where the exit is while everyone else is running in circles asking the air for answers. And, let's be real for a second. Deep down, this moment is personal, isn't it? Not because you enjoy the chaos, not because you want people scared, but because for the first time, they see you. They see the depth. They see the intelligence. They see the intuition. They see the accuracy they used to mock. They see the vision they used to ignore. They see the quiet warnings they used to brush off. This is the moment the room finally realizes you weren't overthinking. You were right. You weren't dramatic. You were early. You weren't negative. You were honest. And that changes everything. Because once you've been right about the collapse, people stop doubting your rise. People stop questioning your instincts. People stop telling you to calm down. People stop assuming they know better than you. They start watching you closely. They start listening tighter. They start fearing the fact that you see things they can't. And if they're freaking out now, let them. If they're panicking, let them. If they're scrambling for explanations you already worked through months ago, let them. Because while they're trembling, you're evolving. While they're confused, you're prepared. While they're overwhelmed, you're analyzing. While they're running around blind, you're navigating with precision. You predicted the collapse. And that means you'll be the one who rises through it, not by accident, not by luck, but because you're built with a mind that refuses to be fooled by illusions, noise, or pressure. And the people who doubted you, they'll have to watch you move through this chaos with the calm of someone who already survived the worst. You're not reacting, you're leading, you're not scared, you're focused, you're not broken. You're becoming something they never saw coming. Because once that panic hit the air, you felt something shift inside you, didn't you? Not ego, not pride, just that quiet, internal confirmation. Like, yeah, this is exactly the moment I trained myself for. While everybody's pacing around asking 100 questions with 0 answers, you're standing there with that stillness in your chest that only people who've been through real chaos ever develop. And it's wild, right? Because the same people who insisted you were overreacting are suddenly looking at you like you've been holding the map this whole time. They're studying your face, watching your reactions, trying to decode your tone, like you're some live broadcast of the truth they wish they had access to. You ever notice how, the second things fall apart, people start treating the person they ignored like the only reliable signal in the whole room. That's why their eyes keep drifting back to you. That's why their conversations get quiet whenever you walk past. That's why their questions aren't casual anymore. They're cautious, they're nervous, they're borderline desperate because your stability is making their fear louder. Chaos exposes something they've been trying to hide. You function better under pressure than they do at their calmest. You make decisions when everyone else freezes. You think clearly when everyone else spirals. You calculate when everyone else reacts. It's almost unsettling for them, seeing you move like that, like someone who isn't intimidated by the noise because you're used to surviving in environments 10 times harsher. And, the truth is, you didn't become this version of yourself by luck. It came from being the one who always had to figure things out alone. It came from being the one who had to grow up mentally faster than you should have. It came from being the one who got blindsided, betrayed, under-supported, underestimated. It came from life forcing you into positions where your mind had to sharpen or break. And you sharpened every single time. They're panicking because this is new to them. You're calm because this is familiar to you. They're overwhelmed because this is their first collapse. You're centered because this isn't your first warning sign, or your first fall, or your first rising from nothing moment. There's this thing you do, you might not even notice it, where you tilt your head just slightly when chaos starts, like you're scanning, like you're listening to frequencies other people don't hear, and people catch that. And it freaks them out a little because they realize you're not reacting emotionally. You're calculating, observing, adjusting. That's why your presence hits different right now. You don't have to yell, you don't have to command, you don't have to prove anything. They simply feel the authority in the way you stand, the way you breathe, the way you look around the room like someone who already knows where the next crack will appear. And this is the part that really shakes them. You're not even surprised, you're not panicked, you're not thrown off, you're prepared, almost like you've been waiting for the moment. The world finally caught up to what you've been seeing all along, and nobody wants to admit how much power that gives you. Because while they're scrambling to adapt, you're already 3 steps ahead. While they're trying to understand the beginning of the collapse, you're analyzing the middle. While they're wondering when things will stabilize again, you're already making decisions based on the world that comes after all this noise. Your mind doesn't operate on their timeline. Your intuition doesn't need their validation. Your clarity doesn't come from being right. It comes from being aware. And, they're starting to understand that, which is why they look at you differently now. Not with annoyance, not with disbelief, but with that quiet, unsettled respect that only appears when someone realizes you might have been the one person in the whole room who was genuinely ahead of the curve. Their panic is loud, your presence is louder, their fear shakes them, your focus steadies you, their confusion traps them, your insight frees you, and that's the thing they're slowly beginning to accept. You're not moving with the collapse, you're navigating through it with the precision of someone who spent years learning how to survive storms nobody else noticed until thunder shook their windows. And the crazy part is, you can feel it in your chest, that quiet shift where your confidence isn't loud, it isn't showy, it isn't performative. It's just there, steady, grounded, built from every moment life forced you to grow, while everybody else stayed comfortable. And you're walking through this full-blown panic with that same expression people always misunderstood. The one they thought meant you didn't care, when really it meant you were processing things 10 layers deeper than they ever bothered to look. They don't realize how long you've been studying human behavior, how long you've been noticing patterns, how long you've been catching inconsistencies they brushed off, how long you've been connecting dots they didn't even know were on the board. And that's exactly why they're suddenly trying to orbit around you right now. Because the moment everything cracked, you were the only one who wasn't acting brand new. There's something about the way you move right now that hits people differently. You're not flustered, you're not shocked, you're not scrambling, you're just aligned, like someone who's been mentally rehearsing this chaos long before it arrived, and they feel that in the way you talk, the way you take pauses, the way you analyze before reacting, The way you never let the noise drag you into their panic spiral. And, there's this subtle power you carry, that quiet psychological gravity, where even the loudest people suddenly get soft-spoken around you. They don't want to embarrass themselves. They don't want to look clueless. They don't want to expose that they're just now realizing the truth you figured out months before. The world started shaking. You ever notice how people rewrite history when they get scared? They start saying stuff like, "I kind of felt it too," or "I was thinking the same thing," trying to pretend they weren't rolling their eyes when you spoke the first time, trying to pretend they weren't minimizing your instincts, trying to pretend they weren't dismissing the exact warnings they're now scrambling to understand. But you don't even give them that much energy because, you're beyond that. You don't need apologies. You don't need validation. You don't need their sudden change of attitude. You're too busy operating from a perspective they can't reach, using a mindset they don't have, moving with an intuition they never developed. And it's wild how the same people who doubted you are low-key depending on you without saying it. They're watching how you react to things before they decide how to react. They're listening to your tone before they choose their next step. They're checking your energy before they decide whether to stay calm or freak out. You became a reference point without even trying to be one. And the deeper truth is that chaos doesn't intimidate you. It activates you. It sharpens you. It wakes up that observer part of you that's been sitting quiet while everyone else acted oblivious. It pulls you into your element, the version of you that's rational, strategic, unwavering, not because you're fearless, but because you've already survived fears that would break most people on impact. This collapse everyone's panicking about, you processed it before it arrived. You accepted it before they acknowledged it. You prepared for it before they even understood what change really meant. That's why you're steady right now. That's why you're focused right now. That's why you're functioning at a level that makes people wonder if you knew more than you ever said out loud. And, that's the thing. You really did. You really do. You've always felt shifts before. They became obvious. You've always sensed tension before it became public. You've always recognized the difference between something collapsing and something transforming. People can't grasp how you stay this composed when everything around them feels like it's exploding. They don't understand the kind of mental endurance it takes to evolve in silence while they were comfortable in their routines. They don't understand that your strength didn't come from being loud. It came from being aware. It came from being forced to handle things alone. It came from being pushed into situations that matured you faster. It came from being challenged by life before anyone handed you guidance. And, the truth they're finally waking up to is that while they relied on stability to feel safe, you relied on adaptability. While they relied on predictability, you relied on perception. While they relied on reassurance, you relied on instinct. While they relied on comfort, you relied on clarity. You weren't just early, you were built for the kind of moment everyone else is breaking under right now. And they can't unsee that anymore. And the thing that really gets to people, really gets under their skin, is how you're not even trying to look strong. You're not performing. You're not pretending. You're not putting on some dramatic mask to convince anyone you're okay. You're just existing in a level of mental stability they can't access right now. And it's messing with their heads because they're finally realizing you didn't become this calm overnight. You earned it. You carved it out of years of being forced to adapt quicker, think deeper, navigate harder situations. While they were out here living in autopilot, they keep glancing at you like they're waiting for you to crack. They're waiting for you to slip. They're waiting for you to freak out the same way they are. But, you're not giving them that. Your silence is too intentional. Your observations are too precise. Your composure is too real, and it's making their fear echo louder than they expected. It's wild how chaos pulls the truth out of people. Their insecurities show. Their fears show. Their lack of preparation shows. Their lack of self-awareness shows. Everything they were hiding behind confidence and noise and routine just falls apart. And suddenly they're exposed in ways they never thought they'd have to deal with. But you've already lived through that level of exposure. You've already been pushed into situations where you had to confront your own cracks. You've already done the inner work that everybody else avoided until life forced their hand. That's why you're steady. That's why you're grounded. That's why you're moving, like someone who's been here before. Even if you never said it out loud, and you can feel them watching you. Not out of jealousy, but out of this strange mix of admiration and unease, because they don't know how you saw the collapse coming before anybody else. They don't know how you processed the warning signs while they were still laughing. They don't know how your mind pieced things together faster than their fear could even register. They're starting to understand that your intuition isn't random. Your awareness isn't guesswork. Your predictions aren't luck. There's a depth to you they never took seriously until everything around them fell apart. And the more the panic spreads, the more obvious your difference becomes. You're not looking around for answers. You're looking through the noise. You're scanning for patterns. You're analyzing reactions. You're mentally 3 steps ahead, while they're still struggling to understand what step 1 even is in them. The truth is, you've always been that person who sees the truth before it becomes undeniable. People mistake that ability for negativity because they don't like being uncomfortable. They don't like facing the idea that something might go wrong. They don't like having to prepare for realities that don't fit their comfort zone. But you never needed comfort. You needed clarity. And you built it piece by piece, pain by pain, lesson by lesson, experience by experience. That's why you're built for this moment in a way they're not. Your mind doesn't freeze. Your emotions don't hijack you. Your fear doesn't overpower your logic. You don't dissolve under pressure. You sharpen under it. And people can feel that. They can feel the shift in your energy. They can feel the way you're walking through this chaos, like someone who already understands how it ends. They can feel the authority in your presence. Even if you're not saying much, they can feel the difference between someone who predicted the collapse and someone who's just waking up to it. They can't ignore that you're functioning while they're folding. They can't ignore that you're observing while they're overreacting. They can't ignore that you're moving with intention while they're trying to stop themselves from spiraling, and it's hitting them harder with every passing second. You didn't get lucky. You didn't guess. Right, you didn't stumble into clarity. You became the person who sees the storm before it hits, because life molded you into someone who had no choice but to understand the weather in ways they never learned to read. And that realization is changing the entire energy of the room around you. And it's kinda fascinating, watching how people who once brushed you off suddenly start treating every tiny movement you make like it means something. You lift an eyebrow and they think you've decoded the whole situation. You take a slow breath and they assume you know something they don't. Hey, you listening? Yeah, you. Come here for a second, because I've been watching you and, the way things have been unfolding around you. Yeah, we gotta talk. You ever notice how people don't react normally when you rise? Like, not a little progress, not a cute little win, but when you suddenly start moving in a way that makes everybody sit up like, wait, who the hell is that? Yeah, that kind of movement. That's exactly where you're standing right now, right in the middle of this weird, uncomfortable, electrifying zone where your success is so loud, so unexplainable, so out of nowhere that people stopped clapping and started filing reports. And, look at you, pretending you don't notice, pretending you're just working, pretending you're just being yourself. No. You came out swinging in a way nobody predicted, and now the world is glitching around you like a cheap simulation. People whispering at their desks, your name echoing in rooms you've never been in, eyes watching you over the tops of phones like you're some classified anomaly. And then they pull up like, explain yourself. This shit ain't legit. You won so hard, they want to interview you. You hear that? You hear the desperation in their voices, the confusion, that tone people use when they're scared but trying to act curious. Yeah. Because the truth is, they can't wrap their minds around how someone who was supposed to stay quiet, supposed to stay average, supposed to stay invisible, suddenly became the one carrying the whole room on your shoulders without even trying. And it's funny, it's really funny, because they think you owe them an explanation. They think they're entitled to a breakdown, a blueprint, a tutorial. They want step-by-step instructions on how you stopped being the version of yourself they were comfortable ignoring. But here's the part that makes them shake the most. You didn't even change for them. You changed for you. You snapped out of whatever cage life built around you. You realized nobody was coming to unlock the door, so you threw your own shoulder into it. You stopped waiting for motivation and became your own chaos engine. You stopped caring how they felt, and suddenly your existence started bending the room like gravity. And now they're terrified, like, actually terrified. Because when someone like you wakes up, when someone like you stops giving half energy, when someone like you starts performing at a level you didn't even know you had, people panic, people get paranoid, people start documenting your every step like you're a case study. Excuse me? How'd you do that? Can you explain your results? Who's backing you? Who's advising you? Who's helping you? Who taught you? They're convinced there's a hidden hand behind you, a secret team, a cheat code, a back door, something non-human, because the idea that you did all this out of your own pain, your own hunger, your own evolution, that's too unbelievable for them. That hurts their ego too much. That exposes everything they never did. Let me tell you something they will never admit out loud. You didn't just win. You changed the rules mid-game. You didn't fit into their metrics. You didn't climb their little ladder. You launched yourself off the ground like you were allergic to staying where they left you. And the worst part for them? You're not slowing down. You're not cooling off. You're not getting tired. You're not returning to normal. If anything, you're just starting to realize how dangerous you actually are. That's why they want to interview you, not to understand you, but to predict you, to control the narrative, to reassure themselves you're still human, to make sense of the fact that someone they counted out is suddenly outperforming every name on their list. But listen closely, because this is where you separate yourself forever. You do not owe them an explanation. Your existence is the explanation. Your results are the explanation. Your resilience is the explanation. Your scars, your late nights, your sleepless battles, those are the explanation. Your silence while they doubted you, that's the explanation. Your healing, your evolution, your refusal to sit still, those are the explanation. Let them panic, let them scramble, let them whisper about interviews and investigations and how did you do it? You're not some contestant they can interrogate. You're not some glitch they need to debug. You're a storm that finally understood its own wind speed and, honestly, you think this is your peak? You think this is your final form? Nah, you haven't even stepped on the gas yet. This is your warm-up, your prelude, your first crack in the wall. And that's what scares them the most. Because if you caused this much disruption by accidentally discovering who you really are, they cannot imagine what happens when you start doing it on purpose, because the moment you started realizing all that, something in you shifted, didn't it? Something subtle but heavy, like the air changed around you. Like you finally caught yourself in the mirror and went, wait, that's me? That's what I've become? And people feel that. People sense when someone stops moving like a side character and starts walking with that main character gravity that bends every hallway they enter. Your presence started hitting different. Your silence started hitting different. Your decisions started hitting different. And, they don't know what to do with that because you're not asking for permission anymore. You're not shrinking to make anyone comfortable anymore. You're not trying to fit whatever version of you they memorized years ago. You're rewriting your entire identity in real time, and they're stuck replaying an outdated file. And that's why they keep circling back with that same nervous line. Explain yourself. They need that interview. Not for answers, but for reassurance. They're hoping you'll slip. They're hoping you'll stutter. They're hoping you'll confess to some secret advantage that makes you less intimidating. Because the truth that scares them the most is that you did this by tapping into something they abandoned a long time ago. That raw, uncomfortable self-honesty that forces you to face your flaws and still keep fighting. You didn't upgrade because life got easier. You upgraded because life cornered you. Because you hit a point where staying the same felt like dying in slow motion. Because you got tired of waiting for a version of you that only exists if you build it. And now look at you, unintentionally, walking into rooms with power you didn't even know was leaking out of you. You're intimidating without trying. You're impressive without talking. You're inspiring without preaching. You're living proof that evolution doesn't ask for permission. It just happens when a person gets fed up with their own excuses. And that's what's messing with them. They don't understand how someone can go from overlooked to undeniable in such a short window. They don't get how you can take all that pressure, all that doubt, all that silence and turn it into fuel. They don't get how you keep showing up after everything that should have broken you. They're used to people tapping out. They're used to people folding. They're used to people settling for crumbs and calling it a feast. But, you didn't settle. You didn't fold. You didn't tap out. You kept digging. You kept moving. You kept reinventing yourself while they stayed loyal to their comfort zone. And now your results are embarrassing their efforts. Your growth is exposing their stagnation. Your wins are making their excuses sound ridiculous out loud. You're not just outperforming them. You're redefining what's possible for someone with your background, your wounds, your history. You became the person they swore you'd never be. You turned into the version of yourself that your younger self used to daydream about when nobody believed in you. You evolved into someone who threatens the quiet hierarchy they built around your place. And, the crazy part? You're not even done unfolding. You're still warming up. You're still figuring out what you're capable of. You're still peeling back layers you never realized you had. That's why they want to interview you. That's why they need you on record. That's why they want to sit you down like some mystery they're trying to decode. Because every time you rise, the whole environment around you starts glitching. People questioning themselves, questioning their choices, questioning how you managed to escape the gravity that kept them grounded. You keep proving something they don't want to accept. That your comeback wasn't luck, wasn't a phase, wasn't an accident. It was a shift in identity, a shift in perspective, a shift in what you believe you deserve. And you're still rising, still shaking rooms, still triggering insecurities, still disrupting every expectation they had of you, still stepping into levels that don't even feel real to people watching you from the sidelines. And every time you walk into a space with that new energy, you notice how the air shifts before you even say a word. People look up a little too fast. They stare a little too long. They fake smile like they're not low-key intimidated by whatever you've turned into, because you're not moving like you used to. There's this steadiness in your steps now, this calm, this quiet fire that makes people second-guess their own pace. You're not bragging, you're not flexing, you're not shouting. You're just existing in a way that exposes everything they've been avoiding in themselves. And that's why they keep bringing up that line like a broken record. You won so hard, they want to interview you. You hear the tone behind that, right? It's not admiration. It's not curiosity. It's fear dressed up as a question. They can't comprehend how someone who was overlooked, underestimated, ignored for years suddenly became the standard in the room. They don't understand how you leapfrogged people who spent their whole lives trying to be relevant. They can't process how you kept your head down long enough to become the person nobody can compete with. And it's wild because you didn't even do anything theatrical. You didn't pull some dramatic move. You didn't announce some grand comeback. You just changed, quietly, consistently, relentlessly, and that quiet transformation is the part they can't handle. They expected you to fail loudly. They didn't expect you to evolve silently. They expected you to stay where they left you. They didn't expect you to reinvent yourself in the dark. They expected you to break under pressure. They didn't expect you to start using pressure as fuel. And each time they watch you do something they swore you weren't capable of, it scrambles their understanding of you all over again. Your growth is basically a psychological jump scare at this point. You know that feeling when you walk into a room and everybody looks like they're waiting for you to malfunction, like they're watching for any tiny slip-up to justify their doubt. Yeah, they're doing that to you right now. But the problem for them, the hilarious problem, is that you're not glitching, you're not stumbling, you're not falling apart. You're actually getting smoother, sharper, steadier with every step. And that's what's got them spiraling, because you didn't just level up. You became consistent. You became stable in a way that's threatening. You became reliable in a way they didn't prepare for. They're used to people burning out. They're used to people giving up after one hard week. They're used to people cracking the moment life applies a little pressure. But you took all that pressure and built a whole new version of yourself out of it. You started moving with purpose, with intention, with that scary kind of confidence that comes from surviving things you don't talk about. And every time you accomplish something new, every time you show up a little stronger, a little clearer, a little bolder, it forces everyone around you to confront their own lack of progress. You're basically holding up a mirror they didn't ask for. And the craziest part is, you're not doing any of this to flex. You're not trying to trigger anybody. You're not even trying to prove anything. You're just finally acting like the person you've always had the potential to be. And the moment you stepped into that version of yourself, everything around you started shifting, like you changed the gravity of your own life. That's why they want to interview you. They think if they can get you in a room, sit you down, ask you a few questions, they can decode whatever blueprint you're working with. They're hoping if they poke around enough, they'll find some cheat code, some secret resource, some hidden mentor, something, anything, to make your success make sense to their limited worldview. But every time they ask, every time they interrogate, every time they try to dig, they keep running into the same uncomfortable truth. You built this version of yourself brick by brick. While they weren't paying attention, you did the work they avoided. You faced the parts of yourself they keep running from. You embraced a level of discomfort they refuse to touch. And now you're reaping rewards they don't believe are possible without supernatural help. You're rising in ways that feel unreal to people who never stuck with anything long enough to change. And, you're not even operating at full power yet. Because the wildest part in all of this, is that you're only using a fraction of what you've got. People are freaking out over your intro version. They're losing sleep over a you that's still warming up. Imagine that. Your practice rounds are outshining other people's life's work. And you can see it in their faces. You can feel it in the way they talk to you. That little tremor in their voice. That awkward laugh. That congrats. That sounds more like a question than a celebration. They keep double-checking your moves like you're breaking some unspoken rule of who's allowed to rise and how fast they're allowed to do it. That's why they keep hitting you with that shaky, half-joking, half-panicked line. Explain yourself. This shit ain't legit. You won so hard, they want to interview you. They can't just celebrate you because deep down, your evolution is exposing everything they never started. You're the living reminder of their procrastination, their fear, their excuses. You're the walking embodiment of what happens when someone finally gets tired of waiting for permission. And that freaks them out more than anything, because they thought you were predictable. They thought they understood your limits. They thought they had you figured out like a math problem they solved years ago. Then out of nowhere, boom, you show up with new energy, new habits, new results, new confidence, and suddenly their whole equation is wrong. You became the variable that messed up their entire formula. And, you can feel that shift, can't you? You can feel how uncomfortable people get when they realize you're not who they remember. You can feel how they study your expression, your posture, your tone, trying to see if you're the same. But you're not. Not even close. You outgrew versions of yourself that they're still attached to. You matured in ways that they didn't expect because they didn't see the internal battles. They didn't see the nights you questioned everything. They didn't see the moments you wanted to quit. They didn't see the days you held yourself together with nothing but grit and stubbornness. They only see the transformation, not the territory you had to crawl through to get here. And that's why they want that interview. They want a behind-the-scenes explanation. They want to know what got into you. They want to know who fixed you, who guided you, who funded you, who pulled the strings for you. Because the idea that you just grew, that you just rewired your entire mentality by yourself, that you broke generational habits with nothing but willpower, that threatens the whole ecosystem they built their comfort around. Every time you take a step forward, it drags them out of denial. Every time you hit a new level, it forces them to confront the fact that staying the same was a choice. Every time you win, it exposes the version of themselves they could have been if they tried harder. You're not competing with them, but your existence feels like competition to them. You're not even thinking about them, but your progress is hitting them like a personal attack. And what's even crazier is that you're moving with this calm, this collected energy, this, yeah, I'm just doing what I need to do vibe. You're not loud, you're not bragging, you're not shoving anything in anyone's face, you're just evolving quietly, consistently, relentlessly. And that quietness, that steady discipline, that ability to keep pushing without making noise, that's what makes people spiral. Because they can't measure you, they can't predict you, they can't anticipate your next move. They can't figure out if you're planning something bigger. They can't tell how much stronger you're going to get. You're operating on a wavelength they've never tuned into, and it's messing with their entire sense of control. That's why every room you walk into feels like you're carrying a storm behind you. That's why every conversation feels like people are trying to decode your intentions. That's why every win feels like it hits harder than you expected. Because you stepped into a version of yourself that refuses to shrink, and the world is struggling to adjust to that upgraded reality. And the craziest part is, you're not even moving like someone who's trying to prove something. You're moving like someone who finally learned their own value. And that shift hits people way harder than any flex ever could. Because when a person who used to doubt themselves starts walking like they trust their own steps, when someone who used to overthink every move starts acting like their intuition is enough, when someone who used to dim their light starts standing in it without apologizing, yeah, the whole environment reacts. People start glitching, they start whispering, they start squinting at you like you're a different species. That's why that same line keeps floating around you like smoke. Explain yourself. This shit ain't legit. You won so hard, they want to interview you. They're not even trying to hide the tone anymore. It's disbelief mixed with paranoia. It's envy mixed with curiosity. It's admiration mixed with insecurity. It's them realizing that you're not the version of you they felt safe underestimating. And you can feel the tension building in the little things. The way someone's smile doesn't reach their eyes anymore. The awkward silence before they congratulate you. The weird jokes that feel more like confessions. The sudden advice that sounds like sabotage. The random check-ins that feel less like care and more like surveillance. That's how people act when your growth forces them to confront their own stagnation. Because you didn't just glow up physically, you leveled up emotionally, mentally, spiritually, energetically. Your boundaries got stronger, your focus got sharper, your presence got heavier, your standards got higher. And once a person raises their standards, their whole world shifts with them. People who benefited from your low self-esteem don't know how to deal with the upgraded version of you. Hey there, you beautiful, chaotic masterpiece. Yeah, I'm talking to you. The one who keeps replaying the last conversation in your head, wondering if you were wrong for saying what you said, wondering if you should have kept quiet, wondering if you should have played nice just to keep the peace. Come on, lean in for a sec. Because you need to hear this straight, unfiltered, exactly how it is. Listen. Nah, gang. Why did you say that? Let me tell you why. Because it was real. Because it was true. Because it was the one sentence no one else had the spine to drop. And now, look how everything is turning, but not on you. It turned on them. You ever notice how people love to act bold until somebody finally speaks the truth out loud? Everybody's tough until you say the thing that exposes the game they were running. And the second you open your mouth, boom! Suddenly the whole vibe flips. Suddenly they start scrambling. Suddenly they start pointing fingers. Suddenly their little alliance collapses like a cheap plastic table at a family cookout. And you're standing there like, all I did was say what y'all been pretending not to see. But that's the funny part, isn't it? They wanted you silent. They wanted you timid. They wanted you nervous, apologizing for breathing too loud. But the moment you spoke, the moment you said that one thing, they felt the ground shake beneath their feet. Let me tell you something you keep forgetting. You were never the problem. You were the mirror. And people hate mirrors when they're dusty on the inside. You didn't start chaos. You revealed it. You didn't break their circle. You exposed it was already cracked. You didn't destroy their peace. You showed it was just a cover-up for manipulation. And now, the truth is out. And everyone's acting shocked, like they didn't know damn well what they were doing behind your back. Look how everything turned on them. Look who's panicking. Look who's losing composure. Look who's suddenly trying to explain. Look who's rewriting the story. Look who's popping up with fake calmness, like, no, it's not that deep. Nah, it is that deep, fam. It was always that deep. They just didn't expect you to be the one bold enough to drag it to the surface. You know what's wild? People will do you dirty with full confidence until somebody mentions the truth. Then suddenly they become motivational speakers, talking about growth and peace, and we should all move forward. Oh, now you want to move forward. Where was this energy when they were laughing at your silence? Where was this energy when they were playing with your name? Where was this energy when they were nudging each other behind your back, like you couldn't feel the tension in the room? Nah, gang. You said what needed to be said. You shook the table. You snapped the illusion. You flipped the script they were writing you out of. And you gotta stop acting like you did something wrong for finally choosing yourself. Because deep down, you feel that little guilt, don't you? That, maybe I shouldn't have said it like that. But let me tell you something in the most animus morphosis way possible. Some truths can't be whispered. Some truths deserve to be dropped like a bomb. Some truths are meant to make the room uncomfortable. And you were the detonator because nobody else had the courage to risk the fallout. You're not the villain. You're the catalyst. You're the plot twist. You're the moment the audience sits up in their seats and goes, oh, this just got interesting. And let's be real, they underestimated you. They built their entire strategy assuming you would stay quiet, assuming you would keep absorbing their disrespect like it was your responsibility to maintain their comfort, assuming you would keep shrinking so they could keep growing. But you didn't shrink this time. You expanded. You hit them with a truth so sharp. It sliced the whole storyline open. And now they're dealing with consequences they created. Look at them, running around trying to fix a narrative they broke. Trying to gather support from people who already know the truth. Trying to act confused like they don't understand why things suddenly changed. Things didn't suddenly change. You just stopped playing the role they wrote for you. And you know what happens when a character refuses to follow the script. The whole story collapses. That's what's happening. That's why everything flipped on them. Not you. You're walking forward with clarity. They're stumbling backward with exposure. You're not spiraling. They are. You're not scrambling. They are. You're not the one losing sleep. They are. Replaying your words in their head like an echo that won't shut up. Because what you said, it stuck. It landed. It hit a nerve they didn't want touched. And here's the beautiful, twisted part. You didn't even lie. You didn't exaggerate. You didn't invent anything. You simply said what was real. And the truth is, the one thing a guilty conscience can never outrun. So keep that chin up. Keep that energy steady. Keep that awareness sharp. Because this whole situation didn't break you. It revealed you. And it didn't expose you. It exposed them. You were the storm warning they ignored. You were the alarm they tried to silence. You were the truth bomb they prayed would never detonate. But the countdown hit 0 the moment you opened your mouth. And here we are. Everything turning, everything shifting, everything unraveling right in front of them. All because you said that one thing they never expected you to say. All because you finally chose honesty over comfort. All because you stopped protecting people who wouldn't even protect your name when you weren't in the room. And now, they're left holding the fallout while you stand there realizing something you should have known a long time ago. Your voice is dangerous to people who built their power on your silence. Because once that truth left your mouth, everything shifted in a way they can't reverse. And you can feel it, can't you? That weird mix of relief and adrenaline, that sudden clarity, like your mind finally took a deep breath after holding it way too long. You're sitting there trying to process it, replaying every word you said, wondering if maybe you went too far, but deep down, you know you didn't. Deep down, you know that sentence was living inside you for months, maybe years, building pressure like a shaken bottle just waiting for someone to twist the cap. And when you finally said it, when you finally cracked open that bottle, the explosion wasn't on you, it was around you. People started revealing who they always were. You started seeing their real faces, their real motives, the real energy behind their smiles. It's wild how fast people switch up when the truth hits the table. It's like, wait, you're reacting this hard to something you claim isn't even true? That reaction alone tells you everything. You ever notice how the loudest people fall the hardest? The ones who are talking the most, laughing the most, acting the most confident, suddenly looking like someone unplugged them. Their vibe drops from 100 to 0 real quick. They start clinging to excuses, rewriting history mid-sentence, trying to gather allies, like this is some social war they can still win. You can almost hear the panic under their voice when they say, that's not what happened. Even though you both know damn well that's exactly what happened. What you said didn't expose a situation. It exposed character. It exposed patterns. It exposed the stuff they thought they buried under fake positivity and forced smiles. And the people watching, oh, they noticed. even the quiet ones, even the neutral ones, even the ones who pretend they don't care. They saw the cracks. They felt the tension. They understood who was being real and who was performing. There's this thing people do. They mistake your silence for weakness, like you're too scared to speak, too timid to defend yourself, too soft to disrupt the atmosphere. But you weren't scared. You were observing. You weren't timid. You were collecting receipts. You weren't soft. You were patient. And patience always hits different when it finally bites back. It's that moment where you realize you weren't outnumbered. You were outgrowing everyone in the room. That's why it felt uncomfortable. That's why the energy was weird. That's why your spirit felt too big for the space they were trying to keep you in. And the second you spoke that truth, the room shrank around them instead of you. You could almost feel their confidence leak out like air escaping a balloon. And you're probably sitting there thinking, why do they look guilty if they didn't do anything wrong? Because guilt has a face, and when you drop the truth, that face can't hide anymore. You saw it. You saw the tension around their mouth. You saw the shift in eye contact. You saw them get defensive over things you didn't even accuse them of. That's how you know you hit the real issue. Every time someone gets exposed, they run through the same stages: shock, denial, victimhood, blame shifting, quiet, plotting. You've seen it before. You're watching it unfold again. The difference this time is you're not shaken by it. You're not chasing their validation. You're not letting their reactions override your clarity. You're just standing there with that quiet, dangerous calm, like, yeah, I said it. And what? That calmness freaks them out because they expected you to crumble after speaking up. They expected you to second-guess yourself, to come back apologizing, to downplay what you said for the sake of keeping the peace. But peace built on lies isn't peace. It's a performance, and you stopped acting. That's the real plot twist. And the more they scramble, the more you realize they weren't prepared for the version of you that finally trusts your own voice. They were used to the version of you that swallowed every emotion, every frustration, every truth, just to avoid drama. They built their comfort on your silence, and now that silence is gone, they don't know who they are without the power they had over your restraint. It hits different when you stop shrinking. It hits different when you stop letting things slide. It hits different when you stop pretending you don't notice the disrespect. You saw everything they did, everything they said, every moment they thought you wouldn't catch. And you held it, and you held it, and you held it, until you didn't. And that one moment, just one sentence, one truth, one "I'm not playing along anymore," shifted the entire terrain under their feet, like the ground finally refused to hold their lies upright. Everything they built on your silence is collapsing, and you can feel them losing that fake stability while you're finding your real one. And you're not looking back, because once you taste the freedom of saying what you should have said a long time ago, you can't go back to swallowing it anymore. And it's crazy, because once that switch flips inside you, everything around you starts revealing itself in ways you didn't even expect. You start noticing who suddenly gets quiet when you walk into the room, who avoids eye contact, who starts over-explaining things you didn't even ask about. It's like your truth turned into a spotlight, and everybody's scrambling, trying to stay out of the brightness because deep down, they know it exposes the stuff they thought was hidden. You ever catch someone doing that awkward laugh? That ha ha, it's not that serious laugh. That's guilt trying to wear a mask. That's someone who didn't expect to get called out, pretending everything is fine even though their whole nervous system is vibrating. And the funniest part is, they still try to convince themselves that they're in control, even while their whole energy is screaming panic. What you said didn't just shake their image, it shook their foundation. You touched the part of them they spend their whole life protecting, that fragile ego that can't handle being seen clearly. You cracked it open with one sentence, and the ripple effect is hitting everything connected to them. They're trying to glue the cracks together with excuses and half-truths. But everybody can see the glue dripping down. And the people around them, they're watching all of this unfold like, damn, this is what happens when the quiet one finally snaps. Because you were never the loud type. You were the observant one. The one who watched every move, every pattern, every inconsistency. And when the observant one talks, it hits different. It's sharper. It's cleaner. It's unavoidable. You're starting to feel this strange power in your chest, this steady confidence you didn't even know was growing inside you. It's like your voice unlocked a door in your own identity. That moment you spoke the truth wasn't an outburst. It was a breakthrough. You weren't reacting. You were evolving. And while they're scrambling to do damage control, you're just sitting there like, I didn't even mean to start all this. I just told the truth. And that's what scares them. The fact that your honesty carries more weight than their entire performance. You can tell who got exposed by who distances themselves from you. They're hoping space will hide their guilt, but distance just makes the truth louder. And you can see it in their behavior, how they suddenly start posting fake inspirational quotes, acting like they're deep and self-aware, trying to spin the narrative into something that paints them as misunderstood instead of caught. That's the modern-day mask. Pretend to be wise when you're really just running from accountability. And the thing is, you're not even chasing them. You're not correcting their lies. You're not defending yourself. You're not arguing. You're just existing louder than their excuses, and it's unraveling them in real time. There's this calm destruction in you now, this unbothered strength that feels almost unfamiliar. You're learning that silence hits harder when it comes from someone who already dropped the truth and doesn't need to say anything else. You're feeling the shift internally, too. The air is different, your thoughts are cleaner, your spirit feels lighter, like you finally put down a weight you didn't even realize you were carrying. That's what happens when you stop swallowing your words. Your body stops holding the tension of everything you kept inside. There's a clarity settling into you, like your soul can finally stretch out without bumping into all the noise you used to tolerate. And while you're adjusting to this new version of yourself, they're adjusting to their new reality. A reality where they can't hide behind your silence anymore. A reality where their actions echo louder than their explanations. A reality where their intentions are no longer protected by your restraint. And they're not built for that kind of exposure. You can see it in every twitch, every defensive reaction, every sudden need to clear the air or explain their side, even when nobody asked. It's wild how quickly everything flips the moment you stop letting things slide. One truth creates a domino effect that exposes every lie stacked behind it. You didn't know the full chain reaction your words would start, but you can see it happening piece by piece, face by face, reaction by reaction, and you're realizing something deeper than you expected, something that's hitting you like a punchline. You didn't see coming. You weren't the one who changed. You were the one who stopped pretending you didn't see what was always there, and it hits you in this slow, creeping way, like your mind is finally catching up to what your spirit already knew. You start replaying old moments with new eyes, and suddenly everything makes sense in a way it never did before. All those little jokes that felt a bit too pointed, all those accidental comments that cut a little too close, all those times they brushed off your feelings like you were being dramatic. You realized you weren't overreacting. You were overliving in a space that didn't deserve the version of you that kept giving them the benefit of the doubt. And that realization has this weird sting to it. It's not pain. It's clarity mixed with disgust, mixed with a little bit of embarrassment. Like, how did I not see this sooner? But that's the thing. You did see it. You just kept making excuses because you're loyal in a way they don't even know how to be. You're the type who tries to understand people's intentions, tries to give grace, tries to keep the peace, even when it comes at your own expense. And they took advantage of that softness, calling it weakness because they weren't smart enough to understand. It was a strength. But the moment you said that truth, the moment that one sentence left your mouth, everything inside you aligned, something snapped into place. And once that alignment hits, you can't unsee anything anymore. It's like someone wiped fog off a window you've been staring through your whole life. The view didn't change, your vision did. And the people who benefited from your blurry vision are terrified of the clarity you have now. You ever watched someone try to act normal when their whole mask is slipping? It's uncomfortable in a funny way. They start doing too much, over-explaining, over-apologizing, over-performing, hoping you'll slip back into the old version of you that didn't notice the inconsistencies. They're like, anyway, I've been meaning to talk to you, trying to act casual while their voice cracks every third word. They're trying to regain an equilibrium that only existed when you doubted yourself and your silence after speaking that truth. Oh, that silence is brutal. It's surgical. It's the kind of silence that makes people talk themselves into deeper holes, revealing things you never asked about. There's this power in saying nothing after you say everything, a power they didn't expect you to wield. Because you're not chasing closure, you're not chasing explanations, you're not chasing apologies, you're not chasing validation, you're just observing their unraveling, and the calm in you is louder than their entire storyline. And the wild part is, you're not even angry anymore, you're just awake. Awake in a way that feels permanent, like some part of you unlocked a version of yourself you didn't know you had access to. It's not aggression, it's not revenge, it's not spite, it's awareness. And awareness hits harder than rage ever could. Rage burns hot and fades fast. Awareness burns slow and changes everything. You can feel that awareness shaping how you talk, how you move, how you respond. It's in the way you pause before reacting, the way you see through people's tone, the way you don't get pulled into their emotional traps like before. You're watching them try the same tactics that used to work on you. Guilt, confusion, jokes, minimization, and none of it lands anymore. It's almost awkward watching them attempt it, like seeing an old magician repeat tricks you already learned the secrets to. There's this shift in your posture too, this subtle straightening of your spine that you didn't even notice until someone pointed it out. That shift is confidence, not loud, flashy confidence, but the quiet kind that doesn't need to announce itself. The kind you can feel in your bones, The kind that scares people who were used to manipulating the insecure version of you they thought you'd always be. Hold on. Before you scroll, look me in the eyes for a second. Yeah, you. I heard about what you did last night, and, we need to unpack that. What you did. Yesterday night, it silenced parts of them forever. You ever notice how people get real bold when they think you're predictable? How they start talking to you like you're some character they programmed? Like they know your reactions, your patience, your breaking points. Yeah, last night, you shattered that illusion. And don't play humble about it. What you did wasn't just a moment. It wasn't nothing serious. It was a shift, a psychological event, the kind of move that turns a person's whole belief system inside out. Because the truth is, they depended on your softness. They counted on your consistency. They thrived off your silence. But last night, you acted differently. You moved with intention. You responded from a place they never prepared for. And the crazy part? You didn't even do it to hurt them. That's what scares them the most. See, people can handle anger. People can handle drama. People can handle shouting and slammed doors. Because all of that still comes from a place of attachment. But indifference, evolution, a shift in your internal frequency, that's the one thing they can't fight. And that's what you gave them last night. You showed them a version of you that doesn't bend backward anymore. A version that doesn't apologize for outgrowing the conversations, the dynamics, the identities they tried to freeze you in. A version that doesn't jump at the sound of their disappointment. You ever see someone go quiet because they're trying to understand how they lost control of the situation? That's the silence you created. You silenced the part of them that believed you'd always be predictable. You silenced the part of them that relied on your hesitation. You silenced the part that thought they could always tap into your insecurities like flipping a switch. Last night, you didn't give them a switch. You gave them a blackout. And, let's be real here. People don't fear your loudest moments. They fear your calmest decisions. Your, I'm done participating in this behavior decisions. Your, I'm not feeding your ego anymore decisions. You want to know why it shook them so hard? Because there was no warning, no explosion, no meltdown. Just clarity. Cold, sharp, bone-deep clarity. Clarity is scary. It exposes everything they tried to hide behind excuses, manipulation, or emotional shortcuts. Clarity forces people to confront the role they played. Clarity makes them realize you outgrew the version of yourself they were most comfortable controlling. And last night, you walked into your clarity like it was nothing, like you'd been waiting for it, like it finally fit. That's why they felt that silence. That silence wasn't awkward. It was grief. It was ego death. It was the moment they realized they lost a version of you they'll never see again. You didn't need to announce anything. You didn't need to justify anything. Your presence, or lack of it, carried all the weight. Last night, you took your power back without asking for permission. You stepped into a part of yourself that was always there but finally woke up. And when that part awakened, it shut down the part of them that expected your compliance. You ever break someone's internal compass just by choosing yourself? That's what you did. You made them replay everything, every decision, every word, every entitlement they carried. Because suddenly the old dynamics weren't working. You didn't fold. You didn't flinch. You didn't chase. You rose. And when you rise, they fall silent. Not because they're processing you, but because they're processing themselves for the first time, without the comfort of blaming you. Last night was more than a moment. It was more than a shift. It was a reset, a reintroduction, a psychological earthquake. And the aftershock, that silence you felt, it wasn't the end. It was the beginning of you becoming someone they don't get to define anymore. And the wildest part is how quickly people notice the shift, even if you don't spell it out. It's like, your energy walked into the room before you did and rewrote the whole atmosphere. You ever watch someone pretend they're unbothered while their chest is practically caving in? That's the kind of psychological chokehold your evolution has on them right now. Because once you stop responding the way they're used to, once you stop giving them the same emotional access they built their comfort on, something primal kicks in for them. A kind of panic. A kind of, oh damn, I think I lost something important. Panic. A kind of, how do I get that version of them back? Panic. But the thing is, that version of you, it's gone. It didn't die. It just matured. It just stopped accepting cheap emotional shortcuts. It stopped volunteering for situations that drained you. It stopped letting people rent space in your mind for free. And, when someone realizes they can't trigger you the way they used to, that's when the silence hits them the hardest. It's not the silence between you two. It's the silence inside them, the quiet that happens when the noise of their excuses finally collapses. People don't get quiet when they're at peace. People get quiet when they get exposed, when the mirror in front of them suddenly becomes high definition and they can't look away. And you turned that mirror toward them last night without even trying, just by existing with more self-respect, just by breathing differently, just by choosing a path they never imagined you'd take. It's funny how they thought you'd always wait, thought you'd always show up, thought they could show you half effort and you'd be grateful for scraps. Your growth slapped that delusion right out of their hands, and the silence that followed, that wasn't them thinking. It was them recovering from the blow. It was them realizing your patience wasn't a weakness. It was a limited time offer. You ever notice how people act stunned when you stop entertaining their chaos? Like you're the one who changed the rules when in reality you just stopped letting them bend you backward? That's the kind of internal short circuit they're dealing with right now. That's why their voice got thin. That's why their eyes dropped. That's why their whole vibe got weird and shaky. Because deep down, they know the power dynamic flipped without you raising a single finger. There's this moment people experience when they lose access to a version of you they took for granted. It feels like a door slammed shut behind them, and when they try to open it again, the handle doesn't turn. That's the silence you left them with. A locked door silence. They can hear you moving on behind it, silence, and they don't know what to do with that. They don't know how to navigate a world where you aren't the one over-explaining, over-apologizing, over-caring. They don't know how to interact with the version of you that doesn't break at their disappointment. They don't know how to approach someone who finally sees their value without needing a reminder. That's why they keep replaying last night in their head, trying to figure out the exact moment the ground shifted, trying to locate the second they lost influence, trying to decode how you went from someone they could read to someone who suddenly speaks a language they never learned. And, that's the most empowering part of all this. You didn't plan it. It wasn't a performance. It wasn't some dramatic act. It was a natural response to outgrowing the old version of yourself. You stepped into a new psychological terrain. You started carrying yourself like someone who knows their worth in full, not like someone begging for a partial payment. And when you operate from that place, when you stop shrinking to fit into the spaces people offer you, when you stop allowing your empathy to be exploited like a weakness, their silence becomes the soundtrack of your evolution. Their discomfort becomes proof of your growth. Their shock becomes confirmation that you finally broke the pattern. Their stillness becomes the echo of everything they never expected you to become. And the more that silence stretches, the more you start noticing something wild about yourself, too. You're not panicking. You're not second-guessing. You're not scrambling to fix anything. You're just steady, calm in a way that feels almost unfamiliar, like you finally slipped into the version of yourself you were supposed to be wearing all along. It's kinda crazy how quickly your nervous system adjusts when you stop trying to please people who benefited from your confusion. Like your chest feels lighter, your mind feels sharper, your spirit feels uncluttered. And while you're standing there in that clarity, they're dealing with the internal fallout of losing access to the emotional buttons they used to press so easily. You ever watch someone reach for a switch that doesn't exist anymore? That confused, almost embarrassed look. That silent, wait, what? Moment. That's them, right now, trying to reconcile the fact that the person they thought they had on emotional lock just became someone they don't know how to approach. Because you didn't just change your behavior, you changed your frequency. You stopped responding from fear or guilt or habit. You started responding from awareness, from grounding, from self-respect that doesn't crack under pressure. And that kind of change? It isn't small. It's not something people can ignore just because you deliver it quietly. Quiet evolution is the kind that hits the hardest. Quiet evolution is the kind that sticks. Quiet evolution is the kind that forces people to confront the gap between who they thought you were and who you actually are. They keep replaying last night because they're searching for the version of you that made them feel safe in their patterns. A version that doesn't exist anymore. A version that grew out of the frame they built around you. A version that finally realized your presence is not an obligation, it's a privilege. And the thing that eats at them the most is how natural it looked on you. How unbothered you were. How you didn't hesitate. How you didn't wobble. How you didn't collapse into old behaviors out of nostalgia or emotional muscle memory. You just stood there differently, moved differently, spoke differently, chose differently. People underestimate how loud a small shift can be. They think you have to scream to make an impact. But the truth is, nothing hits harder than a person who finally aligns with themselves after months, maybe years, of bending. You ever notice the moment your eyes stop apologizing? The moment your voice stops shrinking? The moment you breathe like you own your existence again? That's the version of you they saw last night, and it shook something deep inside them. Not just because you changed, but because your change forced them to see everything about themselves they've been avoiding. And while they sit in that silence, trying to rebuild their sense of control from scratch, you're stepping into a space inside yourself that feels like a whole new room you didn't realize you had access to. A room with better air, cleaner light, sharper edges, more truth. And the farther you walk into that space, the smaller their old expectations start to feel. Like clothes you used to squeeze into because you didn't know you were allowed better. Like conversations you tolerated because you hadn't yet learned how loudly your absence could speak. like connections you clung to because you hadn't realized you were carrying their weight more than your own. It's wild, right? How one night can do that. How one decision can flip the entire emotional architecture of a dynamic you thought was unbreakable. How one moment of clarity can silence not just their reactions, but the version of you that used to react to them. And you can almost feel it, this sense that something in your story just pulled forward, like the timeline shifted, like the next chapter started writing itself the second you stopped shrinking for people who loved the smaller version of you. And the more you settle into that new chapter, the more you start noticing these tiny, almost hidden details in yourself. Like the way your body doesn't tense up the same way it used to. The way your breathing feels deeper, steadier, like you finally stopped bracing for impact. The way your mind isn't spinning in circles trying to decode someone else's emotions before your own. It's subtle, but it's real. It's like your whole system realized you're finally choosing yourself without flinching. And that internal shift, it's powerful in a way most people never experience because they're too scared to break their own patterns. But you did. Last night you cracked something open in yourself, and at the exact same time, you closed something off in them, not out of spite, out of alignment, out of clarity, out of a sense of self-worth that doesn't negotiate its price anymore. And they felt that, even if they'd never admit it, even if they act like nothing happened, even if they pretend they're unbothered. You can feel the truth underneath their performance, the shift in their tone, the slower replies, the carefulness in their words, that little pause before they respond, like they're trying to figure out how much of the old version of you still exists. Because they're confused. They're trying to understand how you walked out of an old identity without stumbling. They're trying to understand how you just slipped out of their emotional grip without warning. They're trying to understand when the person they took for granted turned into someone they can't predict anymore. And, there's something almost poetic about that. How your quiet strength disrupted the comfort they built on your old wounds. How your new boundaries exposed their lack of accountability. How your energy stopped pouring into places that only offered you half light and half love. You started moving like someone who finally understood their own rarity. Not in an arrogant way, but in a grounded, unshakable way. The kind of way that says, I'm not going back to the version of me you got away with hurting. And that's what silenced them. Not your words, not your actions, your evolution. People get loud when they think they still have power. People get quiet when they realize they don't. And their silence right now, it's the sound of you taking up space they never imagined you'd claim. You're carrying yourself with this new internal weight. Not heavy, just undeniable. You're showing up like someone who finally stopped asking, am I enough? And started saying, this is me. This is me. Even if it makes you uncomfortable, this is me. Even if you don't understand the shift, this is me. Even if certain people aren't built to meet me here. And once you taste that kind of internal alignment, once you feel your spirit stop apologizing for its own existence, there's no going back to the version of you that kept trying to shrink itself into someone else's comfort zone. That's why last night keeps echoing in their head. It wasn't the moment itself. It was what the moment revealed. It showed them who you're becoming. It showed them who they're not. It showed them the gap between your growth and their stagnation. And the silence between you two. That silence is stretching because they're realizing the old emotional shortcuts don't work on you anymore. The old dynamics don't fit. The old power games don't land. The old versions of you they depended on have dissolved into someone stronger, sharper, more self-aware. And without that version of you, they're staring at themselves with nothing to hide behind and nothing to pull you back with, while you keep stepping further into a version of your life that finally feels like it's being written by you instead of borrowed from their expectations. And you can feel it in the way the air changes whenever you step into a room now. Like people are suddenly trying to read you, trying to measure you, trying to figure out what version of you they're dealing with. Because the old one, the overly patient one, the overly forgiving one, the overly available one, that one isn't showing up anymore. It's almost funny how people react when they realize the emotional access they used to have is gone. They start tiptoeing. They start testing the waters with these soft little questions, trying to see if you'll break character and go back to the version of you they're comfortable with. But you're not breaking anything this time. You're not folding yourself into their expectations. You're not stepping backward into an identity that required you to abandon your own needs just to keep the peace. And that's the part that hits them the hardest. You're finally at peace without them dictating the terms. You're steady in a way they didn't expect. You're grounded in a way that exposes their instability. People always assume you'll stay the same when they're the ones benefiting from your softness. But the moment you start valuing yourself, the moment you start treating your own spirit with the same care you used to give away so easily, that's when the entire dynamic shifts. And, they feel that shift like a bruise. A bruise you didn't put there on purpose, but one that formed because your growth forced their ego to confront the truth. It's wild how a single night, a single decision, can undo months, even years, of assumptions people built about you. How one moment of clarity can erase the illusion that they'll always know how to reach you, how to calm you down, how to pull your strings with predictable emotional shortcuts. They don't have a shortcut anymore. You closed that pathway. You changed the locks on doors they used to open freely. You reclaimed emotional real estate they thought they had a lifetime lease on. And while you're over here breathing easier, walking lighter, thinking clearer, they're replaying every interaction trying to understand the new rules. Except there aren't rules. There's just you, finally choosing yourself in real time. It's kinda crazy how self-respect doesn't make you louder. It makes you quieter in a way that unnerves the people who used to thrive off your uncertainty. Your silence isn't empty anymore. It has weight, presence, intent. It carries boundaries instead of fear. They keep waiting for the old reactions, the over-explaining, the guilt-tripping yourself, the emotional bending, but nothing's coming. No apology, no undoing, no shrinking. You're just existing differently. And that existence is dismantling their confidence. They're not just silent because you hurt them. They're silent because you changed the emotional architecture they built their comfort on. You're not a role they can predict. You're not a pattern they can rely on. You're not a version of yourself they can use to validate their own stagnant growth. And while they're stuck analyzing the shift, you're stepping into this new emotional space where you don't need permission to feel secure, where you don't need approval to feel whole, where you don't need someone else's reaction to decide your worth. That's the real reason what you did last night hit them so deeply. It wasn't the action itself. It was what the action revealed about you and what it exposed about them. And you can almost sense it. This quiet, powerful momentum building under your ribs. This feeling that you're just starting to tap into a version of yourself that doesn't apologize for existing and doesn't shrink to fit into the emotional spaces people give you grudgingly, and doesn't hand over your peace just to keep someone else comfortable.